10 exercises that you absolutely have to get into your weekly workouts. Hey guys, I'm Mark McKilliey, Relive Anabolic, and of course this is the famous Mojo. Mojo's 13 now. He's been with me a long time. He's been in a lot of videos, just kind of typically lounging on the floor in the background. But today, I'm going to give you a list of 10 exercises that you should do every week that will absolutely help you put on muscle, especially for us older guys, over 40, over 50. I do every one of these exercises, okay, every single week. And so you need to find a way to incorporate these in your weekly workouts if you want to get the most muscle per week out of your workouts. All right, so I kind of have a cheat sheet here. I can't remember all these off the top of my head, and I'm going to go through them, but this is not in order of preference. Number one is not necessarily the best and most important, but you'll notice as we go through these exercises are going to end up hitting every major muscle group in our body, okay? And then you're going to be having multiple exercises for our really big muscle groups like legs and chest and back. You're going to have more than one exercise, all right? I'm just going to kind of go through the list here, and then of course what you're going to do is see me actually doing these exercises in some video clips that we've pre-recorded, okay? So you can kind of skip through them if you want and just kind of find the exercise that you think is most relevant for what you're trying to do. But without further ado, I'm just going to start naming off the exercises, and then you're going to see videos of me doing them and also giving you some pointers and tips along the way. All right, so the first exercise, you need to be doing some type of squat, all right? It could be a goblet squat, it could be squats holding dumbbells, it could be in the squat rack itself with a barbell over your shoulder or with a sandbag on your shoulder. You could be on a machine doing leg presses. I consider a leg press machine like a squat because it's a big compound movement. You know, you're hitting your quads and your glutes and your hamstrings at the same time. But anyway, you need to be doing some type of a squat every week. All right, exercise number 2, guys. Love my machine flies for our chest. And it doesn't have to be on a machine per se. It could be on those cable crossover machines, you know, the cable machines where you're grabbing 2 handles and you're doing flies. So there's lots of different machines at the gym that you can do a fly movement for your chest. Sometimes it's on a fixed machine where you have to hold these handles, you know, and they're connected to arms that are rigid and you can only move your hands in a certain way. And then other times you can use the cable fly machines, which give you kind of a little more flexibility. But either way, you need to be doing some type of fly movement with machines or the cables. Exercise number 3 is my go-to for my shoulders, and that's dumbbell lateral raises. The reason I put this in here is because a lot of guys my age have got bad shoulders and they can't really push dumbbells or push their hands up above their head. For some reason, that movement just really hurts their shoulders. But a lot of guys, even with some minor shoulder injuries, can do lateral raises with dumbbells. And it's just really effective exercise. Exercise number 4. This is another chest exercise, and that's an incline dumbbell chest press. If you're having problems with shoulders, let's say, and using free weights like dumbbells might bother your shoulders, do it on a machine. Find an incline machine chest press, all right? But, you know, this is a go-to movement for building a big chest. Exercise number 5 is going to target our biceps. That's a small muscle group, and this is an isolation movement, but I'm going to say hammer curls. The reason hammer curls, as opposed to a supinated curl where you're turning the dumbbells in your hands, is because a lot of guys like myself get tendonitis in our bicep tendons. And hammer curls put much less stress on your tendons. And I know I got real bad tendonitis a year ago, and I literally doing 10-pound curls hurt. All right. So I had to do only hammer curls with a real light weight using real slow, super strict form. But, but by doing that, I was able to preserve the muscle mass on my biceps, even though I wasn't able to hardly lift any weight. It was really good. Exercise number 6 is another small muscle group, our triceps. And I think tricep pushdowns are by far the best. You can use a lot of weight and still control the form really well. I feel a great mind-muscle connection when I'm doing tricep pushdowns, typically on the cable machines. You can do them at home with bands, but that's probably, I would say, the best all-around tricep movement. There's lots of different exercises that hit your triceps, but that's a great, if you can only pick one, that's the one to go with. Exercise number 7 is another shoulder exercise, and this is going to target the rear part of your delts. And most guys don't do those at all. Okay, so if you have bad shoulders, definitely include these in your weekly workouts. It may actually help so much with your injury that it will either totally solve your injury problem or make it so that you can actually do overhead dumbbell presses. But anyway, rear delt flies. You can do them bent over with dumbbells, or you can do them with cables or machines at the gym. But you gotta focus on the rear part of your shoulders. All right, guys, number 8, cable rows. Now, this is my second exercise I picked for our back because the back is a big muscle group. Remember, 17 different muscles. And there's an old saying, you got to row to grow. And it's also an exercise you can do a lot of weight with and still use really good form. And you're going to feel it actually start pumping a lot of blood into all those muscles in your back. You'll feel a big pump when you're doing it right. Exercise number 9, lat pull downs. This is another back exercise. And you know, like I said, I picked 2 exercises for our back because it is such a big muscle group. You got to hit those muscles from lots of different angles. It requires multiple exercises, and these lat pull downs are great for that. They kind of mimic a pull up, but most guys, including myself, really can't do many pull-ups because we just weigh so much. And you know, I got some minor injuries in my shoulders and my bicep tendons that just make using really heavy weight, like i.e. my body weight, just too hard. So lat pull downs are a great way to build and target a bunch of different muscle groups in your back. And then finally, the last exercise, number 10, we're going back down low. We're hitting our legs again. You're gonna hate me for this one, but lunges. And there's lots of different types of lunges, different ways we can do it. If you're starting off, newbie, let's say you're overweight, you're carrying an extra 40, 50 pounds, you can just do lunges with your own body weight and get fantastic results, okay? And lunges are hitting your quads, your glutes, and your hamstrings. Man, it's hitting all the. Once you start losing body fat and you start getting in better shape, you can start making them more difficult by holding some dumbbells in your hands. And then I've done them before where I put a sandbag on my shoulder. Love doing walking lunges with these 60-pound sandbags. It's a great way to hit all the muscle groups in our lower body. All right, there you go, guys. 10 exercises that you absolutely have to get into your weekly workouts. All right, I do all of these every single week, rain or shine. And as you noticed, I picked multiple exercises for the big muscle groups like chest, back, and legs. And then, of course, as I always say, guys, you can't build muscle unless you stick with it and never give up on yourself.